Salut. C'est trop tard, c'est déjà enregistré.
J'y vais? Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, guys. So we're gonna switch to English, so everybody can. Okay, I'm gonna switch to English. You speak whatever language you feel comfortable. So the idea of this talk was to talk about freestyle and choreo, what it represents, who does what. If there are different communities that maybe practice those, are there commonalities between those, what are the separations, and everything around these two concepts. D'accord? Donc, tout ce qui concerne le freestyle et la choré. Et aujourd'hui, on a Claudia et William ici. Et Valérie, si tu peux un peu aussi donner un petit peu la liste.
Sound check, okay.
So voilà, we have Claudia who for this context kind of represents the choreo aspect of the scene in Luxembourg, and we have William who is a good example of a freestyler here, a very good example. So we thought it would be interesting to contrast you guys and to see what we can get from you. We have people of all sorts of backgrounds listening to you and who can also give their input. And I think it can nourish a lot everybody and maybe change our minds or leave with something valuable for us. Ça va?
Mm-hmm.
Donc pour commencer, peut-être que vous pouvez vous présenter un petit peu et nous dire qui vous êtes et quelle est votre relation avec la Corée et avec le freestyle ou avec la danse. Ça va? You can present yourselves.
Je te laisse débuter.
Je m'appelle William, aka Instinct, Rough Killer, danseur, beatmaker, pseudo-DJ, mais principalement artiste. Et freestyler. J'aime bien le freestyle. Oui, photographe aussi, vidéaste.
Des vidéos de
beaucoup de trucs. Mais oui, ce qui concerne le freestyle, ou le hip-hop plutôt, c'est mon centre de refuge et l'endroit où je suis le plus libre. Voilà, pour l'instant. C'est assez.
Moi, c'est Claudia, donc je travaille en tant que chorégraphe. Donc je peux encore aller sur scène, je fais ça aussi. Sinon, je donne des cours de danse et puis je fais plein de projets participatifs. Voilà, je travaille dans les théâtres. Enfin, c'est un peu un autre monde, effectivement. Voilà. Pour le reste, ah oui, peut-être la relation. Moi, en effet, j'ai plus débuté dans la chorégraphie, mais je pense au fur et à mesure qu'on continue cette discussion, à un moment donné, je pense qu'il n'y a pas de chemin qui passe sans... Enfin, le freestyle, c'est l'essence, hein, on est d'accord, du hip-hop et la danse hip-hop. Voilà, donc il n'y a pas de hip-hop sans le freestyle. Voilà.
Cool. So, yeah, Claudia, she's choreographer and working in participative projects as well. She was acknowledging as well the place of freestyle in hip-hop, which is essential. Donc déjà maintenant vous connaissez, we know you. Maybe you can let us know for you what is freestyle and what is choreo. Like if we are clear about what we're talking about. Et un peu les définitions pour vous.
C'est quoi le freestyle? Bon. Il y a freestyle et il y a freestyle. Il y a freestyle, mais c'est catégorisé, genre hip-hop, ou salsa, ou n'importe quelle autre catégorie. Et à freestyle, où il n'y a rien... Enfin, on s'en fout, je fais ce que tu veux. Mais moi, je fais plutôt du freestyle hip-hop, parce que c'est le style qui me correspond le plus. Enfin, c'est une forme de danse qui me parle le plus. Il y a d'autres formes de danse qui sont aussi très parlants, mais c'est celui-là auquel j'accroche le plus. Et qu'est-ce que j'aime avec le freestyle? C'est que c'est comme un jeu. Genre, j'ai l'impression de jouer. Après, c'est plus facile de jouer quand tu as les codes du jeu. C'est bien d'avoir la manette, mais si tu sais pas où appuyer, enfin, tu sais pas y jouer, quoi. Donc, ça passe par les fondations, par des concepts, par la musicalité et par le ressenti, ouais. Pour moi, le truc le plus important, c'est le ressenti et la musique. Genre, à travers de la musique, genre le ressenti que tu as grâce à la musique, et ce que tu entends, comment est-ce que tu peux l'exprimer? Parce que tout le monde a une façon d'entendre qui est différente. Et c'est ça aussi qui rend le freestyle aussi parlant. Parce que personne parle de la même façon, mais on parle le même langage. Et à la fin, c'est un peu tous les mêmes mouvements. Mais ce qui fait un peu la différence, c'est le ressenti qu'on a. Parce que même si le mouvement il est le même, le ressenti n'est pas le même. Peut-être qu'il y en a un, il le fait avec de la colère, l'autre il le fait avec de la joie, l'autre il essaie de raconter un truc à travers, alors que l'autre c'est juste un mouvement. Mais au final, ce qui est bien avec le freestyle, c'est la liberté. Genre ce truc d'être libre. Je sais pas moi, t'as travaillé, t'es saoulé, ou t'as fait d'autres trucs de la journée, t'étais à l'école, t'avais des tests, et puis tu peux rentrer à la maison et mettre de la musique, et juste danser, ou juste bouger la tête, sans qu'il y ait personne qui te dit comment faire ou quoi faire. C'est juste toi et toi. Ouais. C'est ça que j'aime le plus dans le freestyle, je pense. Voilà.
Ah merde, tu dois tout redire.
Pas complètement, mais juste pour synthétiser, donc for the people who don't speak French. So freestyle for you, first of all, is freedom, and we're talking about hip-hop freestyle. Freedom, and it is a game, basically, in which you are representing the music your own way, using a set of codes that are common to a group of people. And what's beautiful about it is that everybody is gonna put their feeling into those codes and play with them in their own way. So that's, I think, the biggest.
Ouais.
Before going to Claudia, maybe you can define choreography. When you think about choreo, what does that mean for you?
La Corée, je trouve que c'est plus personnel. Par rapport à la personne qui le donne. Et à travers sa personnalité, il donne un feeling aux gens aussi. Bon, après, est-ce qu'ils peuvent ressentir le même feeling? J'en sais rien. Mais, je sais pas. fait, il y a la choréo et il y a la choréo. C'est comme le freestyle à la fin.
Ouais.
Genre, quand je regarde juste une chorégraphie, ça me fait pas forcément quelque chose. Mais quand je regarde une chorégraphie personnelle, genre tu sens que ça vient de la personne. Pour moi, perso, les bons chorégraphes que j'ai vus, en général, ils freestyle. Pas tout le monde, définitivement. Mais il y a des bons chorégraphes qui freestyle pas, mais ça n'empêche pas que ce soit des monstres. Et ça peut aussi toucher. Mais je sens la différence. Mais après, je pense aussi, quand tu connais un danseur qui freestyle, tu connais sa danse, mais si tu le vois faire une chorégraphie, tu vois sa danse, genre personnelle, dans la chorégraphie. Et je trouve que c'est difficile. Je trouve que la chorégraphie, c'est difficile. Genre, je peux le faire, je l'ai déjà fait, mais il y a certains types de gens. Il y a des gens qui aiment bien suivre. Il y a des gens qui ne sont pas faits pour suivre. Moi, par exemple, je ne suis pas fait pour suivre. Même des fois, je me dis, oh, j'ai envie de faire une créa. À un moment donné, mon cerveau, il truc parce que je conditionne. Je dois me conditionner. Ça doit être cadré. Ça doit être... Enfin, c'est plus... comment dire ça? Est-ce qu'il n'y a pas un petit mot structuré? Oui, voilà. C'est plus structuré. Quand on freestyle, ça peut être aussi structuré. Parce que le structure dans le freestyle, ça va être les points, les virgules, enfin, les accents, tout ceci. Dans la Corée aussi, mais c'est différent. Parce que c'est un truc qu'il faut répéter et qu'il faut laisser telle qu'elle est. Et ça, je trouve quand même impressionnant. Genre, en tant que prof, tu as un groupe de gens et que tu arrives à leur faire faire exactement la même chose que toi, ouais, c'est impressionnant. Parce que moi, j'arriverai pas. Je peux essayer pendant des jours, des années, mais dans mon ressenti, ça me ferait bizarre. Bon, après, c'est une histoire de goût, hein. C'est tout. Mais, ouais, c'est tout. Je crois.
Beaucoup de points intéressants. There were a lot of interesting points, and I'm afraid of missing them out. I started writing too late, but
Je parle trop.
there's a structural element to it. There's a repetition of something that has been created, and this wish for people to follow someone. So you're mostly a follower if you follow choreography as opposed to freestyle. You also said that it's beautiful when you can see that a choreographer has put his personal story into the dance, and you can really see the difference when the personal aspect is there and when it's not. And then you spoke about choreographers who freestyle, that often they're really great choreographers because they have this element of freestyle in their répertoire. C'est plus ou moins.
Non, c'est bon, c'est juste. C'est juste que j'ai parlé trop.
C'est beau, t'as tous ces côtés. C'est beau.
Ouais.
All right, so I think I'm just going to switch English maybe. Then we get some, yeah, is that fine? I will try my best. And yeah, talking a lot, but it's also difficult sometimes to put everything like structured while explaining it. So for me, as a dancer, let's say, I think freestyle allows you, like you said, it's a game, you have your codes, but you play. And there is no mistakes, then you allow mistakes, and I think it gives you the opportunity to first learn your style, expand your movement and whatever is possible. I am very well aware that even foundations, like I'm not mastering them because then I would have like so millions and millions of different variations, and I notice myself that quickly I get stuck and then I have the same. So it's I think it gives you a tool, and also in hip hop, at some point, if you want to be taken seriously, like you said, it's not that it's mandatory to be a good choreographer, but if you want to be part of the hip hop culture, hip hop dance, I think it took me a long time, but it was definitely necessary. Even if I'm not the battle dancer, so to say. But he said there's like choreography. I think you have executing movements and you have dancing them out. I think that's also a big point. And because actually choreo, you have them as well in battles. You just call them combos, maybe. So it happens as well. And I get the point of. If you choreograph, because I work a lot as well with freestyle dancers or so, and you want to, because the freedom. Freestyle is you can let go and you're free. And as soon as you create, or you have to put like some restrictions even, so you close maybe as well a bit. So sometimes it's difficult, but if you want to, it depends the context as well. If you have a competition, for example, then I say, well, actually counts are important. Like you said, everybody has a different feeling. So if you go by feeling, it will never be sync. Because counts very often I hear like they take away the essence and the feeling, which is not totally wrong actually, but at the same time, you cannot be all the counts are like we count to 8 musicians until 4. C'est tes mesures. It's your BPM. It's the music, so it's what you dance. It's like saying to a musician, your partition, you don't need it. At some point, and also you have the beat and the rhythm. And the beat stays the same, but the rhythm might change. And if you have like let's say dance as a word, some might take dance, like the impact or you put it in the beginning of the word, other feel dance like more, there's always like a bit differences. So it's very important in that case. I would say I notice right away if I see something that is choreographed and should be synced, and if there were no counts, for example. Which doesn't mean that you need them absolutely, even while you teach. You can have the lyrics, you can have your accents. Sometimes the music is just so clear, you don't even really need the counts. And for me, I love to choreograph, and also, of course, it's also more my comfort zone. But I like to mix. I just think that hip hop is. It will never be my culture, obviously, but I just love that culture. And whether it's freestyle or choreograph, I think it's complementary for me personally. But as a dancer in hip hop, and actually in any other style, yes, you have your roots, and the roots are the block parties. It's social dances. You cannot take that away. So obviously, those circles they form, and it's sharing, and it's. Also, it's the principles of hip-hop. Like you said, peace, love, unity. I remember the T-shirt back then. And that's what it's about. And also, now it's like we're not in the same space, but the roots will always stay. You cannot change the roots of it. And so, I think the fact to express yourself freely. And it was also to make statements. It's whether it is political, came from struggle, and nowadays we know very well that also most of the rappers we listen to, they grew up maybe like Prince from Ballet. Not necessarily all together, but the roots stay the same. It's like, sometimes when these... Si je parle trop, tu me stops. When you have to give like a certificate of residence, like a new one, okay, because you might move, but your certificate of birth, I was not born here. Sometimes I need a new one, but I don't know why, because that place will not change, So we cannot take away the roots. So I think a very important point that I noticed these past years we have become more aware of that. Back then it was all the breakdancers outside, or you were in the dance room with mirrors. Okay, so we didn't have it. Not saying that that's all wrong. But nowadays we know that it's important, the transmission as well of the roots, and yeah, so to not only execute movements but to give the rock, the bounce, and all of this, because in dance classes very often you don't find that much. If you go to jams, or there are teachers, I know you learn a choreo, I learn a choreo with you, you say all the step names and all that, so it's a lot of knowledge that you give at the same time, and it's getting more and more important also for those that might not have their comfort zone, maybe in freestyle, and in the street more raw. I don't know if I said, if it's like a round thing, but
Yeah, you said a lot of interesting things.
yeah, there were many points you said. I was like, actually, oh yeah, I need, but yeah.
But a lot of common point, like you don't have very different ideas in lessons. Maybe I want to take advantage that you're here.
Absolutely. We don't see.
To ask you the same question, like based on what you've heard, maybe you can give your input.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it's about you guys. You know, you were supposed to be the leader of the tour. That's why I put myself on the side. You know, that's why. But I would say maybe only later during my dance journey that I understood that there was some sort of separation in terms of choreographers and freestyle dancers, but I did not start like this at all. When I started dancing, I did choreography and freestyle every single class. So my teachers, they taught me both right from the get-go. So in my mind, I did not have a separation until today. I love both to a point where in my event, BTM experience, we do have choreography and the battle part.
We start getting there slowly.
You know, so it's simply because I was born in, I was raised in dance this way. So now I can, when I step back and try to understand why do we have a separation, I mean, some sort of separation, I would say it's just because, to me, choreography, it's the top of the funnel. What I mean by that is, I'm using like a marketing term on purpose because I love marketing as well. It's just because choreography is more accessible to much more people. And I think it's necessary to have choreography always in the game, because like this, there are certain people that will never start dancing if it was not for choreography. Because at least they can see something that they say, okay, this I can try to replicate it. If I don't get it right now, if I repeat it, I will get it eventually. But freestyle, it's a bit more difficult for certain people to grasp in their mind. They're like, ooh, it's a bit more intimidating. So I think this is how my teachers were able to start to get me into a better structure in my freestyle as well. Because they would tell me, if you can learn choreography, and also you can learn to create choreography and make them clear, then when you're going to be freestyling, your movement, your quality of movement will be better as well. See what I mean? So that's how I also learned the benefit of of choreography. So that's also how they kind of convinced me that I need the other side, right? But freestyle is just something that I gravitate toward very naturally, because simply that's the things that I wanted to express, you know. So overall, I would say freestyle dancers, most of the guys who you see that are really good at freestyle, pretty much every single one of them, they are also into choreography somehow. And on the other side, the thing is, I would say to every dancer who starts with choreography to eventually transition to learn freestyle, not to become a battle dancer, but at least to do that. Because imagine if I tell you today, look guys, you cannot talk. The only way for you to talk is to repeat after me. You're gonna be what? No, you're crazy. I will never do that. I want to express myself without having to repeat after you. Right? But if you accept to only learn from someone else's movement, and that's the only thing you can do, then that's exactly what you're doing. Because you can only dance through repeating someone else's movement, right? So therefore, I think at some point, even though you start dancing with choreography, but the people who are passionate and stay long enough in the game, I think naturally they feel the desire to also learn freestyle. So all that to say, eventually, time will kind of force you to merge both together because both of them, they are complementary.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's also the mindset. It's also the mindset. I think, like you said, more intimidating was like, do you think circle, do you think battle? So I started actually saying like improv classes, you know, to just give me another name, and then you use exercises the same as you do. You give some prompts, some maybe idea, and then you play with that. And I actually even gave improv classes. Even if I'm not the best in improvising, but it was I think, some people have more strength in maybe leading others. I work with Marvin, freestyle dancer, but we managed somehow he also, like at some point, is restricted with whatever I want, but I try to give enough freedom for him to also like to show his skills. And I think, like you said, choreography, at some point, there is like you do both, and even you as a creative, like visual artist, you do have like the formation and stuff. So I think it's more about the mindset and getting away from that. Okay, 7 to smoke, and which was at the idea of sharing. And I think you just need to do the step, and if you just do it, then you actually notice that you get used to be seen, and then at some point you start caring less. For me, to be honest, it was not that easy because I have been dancing already for so long, and so you are already teaching, and I started teaching way too early. You have like, okay, I have a certain name, and I don't want to like fuck that up. I mean, discredit yourself. And I remember one awful experience. I should have. You remember that judge? There was an event, and I had to judge the choreography part. At some point, they told me, "No, you do the battle." Yeah, merci beaucoup. So I had to judge. I had to be a judge in a battle. You know that there are judge demos, right? So I was like, okay, So it really felt wrong, even wrong, because I think I didn't have the place. Even now, I would not say, no, don't let me judge. I mean, I think everything is good. I cannot, like, all the time. I cannot even. Sometimes the more you get into it and the more you learn, the more also you judge less because you know the work it is. And a freestyle dancer here, I think, even if I do a choreography or piece and I have like my choreography dancers, let's say, and the freestylers I bring in, whether they also do choreography, I'm not saying that, but they have maybe less rehearsals than those that do every choreography step, but they are not paid less because simply they train all year and you pay for them skills, So, I think it's important that we start, and like you said, it's more difficult to commercialize because people want to do what they see. So I want to dance like in this clip or whatever. So if you start doing your exercises, just doing the jags and the bounce, then at some point they think it's boring. But that also switches. So it's nice to take maybe foundations and then focus on dancing them instead of just executing lines and
Maybe we can start with this because you implement freestylers in your choreography.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like the bridges, maybe the two worlds are maybe quite similar, and there can be a lot of like
Yes, yeah.
interactions between the two. You talked about improvisation, freestyle inside of a choreo. You have choreographers that also tell you you go from point A to point B. The guidance is you need to be fast and then you know what you want in there. It's freestyle. And then you talked about combos and battles in which it's finally it's choreography. Do you think that there's other occasions in which the two can have like interact between?
I think it's been done. We have many like contemporary urban hip hop contemporary companies that have their roots in hip hop. But yeah, nowadays you can. I mean, hip hop is everywhere, whether you like it or not. In big theater stage as well as still in the street. And I mean, everything is common. Battles as well, whether we talk about Red Bull BC1 or Juste Debout or Summer Dance Forever. I mean, it's a battle, but it's also commercial at some point, no? Yeah. And I think it's also good because it gives back something also to that community and it spreads. I like freestylers because it's like working with comedians in theaters. Sometimes it's more a work of how you can translate, like, okay, we're having a fight, we're not gonna fight, but like the movement, how you can do it, because it's not like in a video we have one angle, so it works out, but there you have an audience around, so you have to make sure that you can somehow express it with your body. That's not always easy, so it's more that kind of work, and I noticed that I learn a lot from freestylers and comedians because they have less la peur du ridicule, on va dire, peut-être. They are more like open maybe to, they already did this step of on laisse la gêne dehors, and they are more willing to just be maybe more authentic at some point, you know. Yeah, so, and mixing both, I think, again, there's one and the other, they go hand by hand at some point, yeah. Yeah.
De chorégraphie et combo.
Même, oui, par exemple, dans ta vie en tant que freestyler, dans quelles occasions est-ce que tu penses que tu as interagi avec la choré?
Beaucoup de fois. À un moment donné, on n'a pas le choix. À un moment donné, ça vient d'une façon ou une autre. En vrai, c'est vrai ce que tu as dit. D'une façon ou d'une autre, à la fin, ça se rejoint. Par exemple, en ce moment, j'ai de plus en plus de gens qui me demandent des chorégraphies. Parce que j'en ai fait une fois. C'était chiant. Parce que je suis obligé d'inculquer à des gens ma danse. Et pour qu'ils dansent d'une certaine façon, mais c'est un groupe. Il faut que tout le monde fasse la même chose. Le processus, il est chiant. Mais le résultat de fin, t'es là. Mais c'est pas mal tout ça. Tu dis en fait, c'est pas mal. Du coup, moi aussi, j'ai commencé à aimer ce côté chorégraphique pour la partie de fin. Enfin, il y a le processus. Mais à la fin, je suis en mode, ouais, j'ai quand même réussi à faire en sorte qu'il y ait un groupe qui arrive à faire la même chose à partir de ma vision. C'est quand même... je trouve que c'est stylé, genre. Ou sinon, par exemple, moi, dans mon cas, c'est plus... J'aime bien faire des jams. Ce que j'aime le plus, c'est les sessions. Les sessions, c'est pour moi le top du top. Et après, il y a les battles. Mais du coup, on va aussi au battle. Et on nous dit de plus en plus, déjà entre nous, par exemple, aussi qui vient et me dit, ouais, tu dois te préparer pour le 2v2. Qu'est-ce qu'il me raconte, lui? Bah non. Enfin, voilà, on tape les gens, c'est tout. Il est là, non, c'est fini ça. Il faut aller préparer. Faites des combos, trouver des concepts, structurer le truc. Et on était trop en mode puriste. Non, nous, c'est bon, on est des freestylers. On n'a pas besoin de ça. On arrive sur place. C'était pour la dernière édition de Black Hole. Ah, la baffe qu'on a ramassée. C'était violent. Parce que j'ai l'impression qu'on était, je dis pas les seuls, hein, mais c'est l'impression qu'on avait. On était les seuls qui n'étaient pas préparés pour ce qui allait arriver. Même dans les présélections, ils faisaient des combos, on faisait wow, tout ça, tout ça, maintenant, genre. On fait ok, nous on est venus, on a fait comme d'hab. On a dansé, on a fait nos trucs. C'est définitivement pas passé. On aurait pu passer, même sans. Mais à un moment donné, on se dit, ok, ça prend quand même de l'ampleur ce truc de faire des routines dans les battles. Du coup, à un moment donné, on s'est dit, bon, peut-être que nous aussi, on doit le faire. Et du coup, ça prend cet aspect chorégraphique. Au début, c'est pas forcément facile. Mais je pense aussi à force, ça va... Et même ça, à la fin, ça va nous donner plaisir à le faire.
You know, if I can just add something, I think you
Well,
actually do more choreography than you think. You know, when you do, I mean, there are different ways to work on a piece, to do your research, whatever. But sometimes you just put the song on, and you never have that you do. There's a certain step that always happens at that specific moment in the music, like just by doing it. Yes.
Bien sûr.
So and also, so this is very often also the most authentic step in your whole routine. It just came naturally without thinking too much. And in when people dance together a lot, I'm sure, like, so maybe not exactly the same, but like you said, you have your essence, you have your style. So Marvin could do just copy, do la caricature from his kind of style, and the same maybe the other way around. You can but just saying. And sometimes when people jam and train together, because it's not only the combos. Sometimes you have the guy in the back. They know exactly what the guy is doing because they add the accents and they even enhance the whole thing because they train so much that they know kind of their go-to moments, or if this happens, I know what's coming next, and this also creates you actually are kind of structured as well, even there, and this is so nice to see if you have, that's not only talking, how you said, like different but same, like the same language, but you said before, I don't remember, anyway, but this is not only the same, this is the same dialect, this is like, it's just, it's very nice to see that connection, actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You as a freestyler and you as a choreographer, what skills would choreography give you? How would choreography enrich your freestyle, besides from afterwards using it in competitions? You as a dancer, in your freestyle, in your free world, what does choreography give you? Like he was saying, there's some point in which you encounter it, but not necessarily only professionally, but for your richness as a dancer. Parce qu'il y a des aspects de la choré qui te nourrit, qui pourraient te nourrir.
Oui, quand j'ai un truc spécifique en tête, si j'ai un move que je... Il y a toujours des moves où on va un peu, faut le dire. Même si, il y a des danseurs freestyle, il y a des danseurs freestyle, mais que ça fait très chorégraphique, parce qu'on sait déjà ce qu'ils vont faire et quand ils vont le faire. Mais c'est pas mauvais pour autant, parce qu'au final, des fois, ça a plus d'impact que le freestyle de la personne. Donc, la chorégraphie m'aide déjà pour être structuré. Je suis obligé de me discipliner, donc ça me discipline un peu plus. Ça m'aide à être beaucoup plus propre, d'un côté, parce qu'il faut toujours répéter le même mouvement. Et ce qui est cool de la chorégraphie, c'est surtout quand on le fait à deux. Enfin, pas trop, parce que sinon, voilà. C'est vrai. Mais quand on le fait à deux, avec deux visions différentes, tu prends deux danses de deux personnes différentes et tu mets ensemble, bah, des fois ça peut créer des trucs incroyables. Que ce soit pour des routines, juste aussi chorégraphiquement parlant, en tant que freestyler pour faire ça, c'est cool. Donc, je ne vais pas dire que je déteste la chorégraphie, jamais de la vie. Parce que finalement, j'en fais aussi. Parce que j'en ai aussi besoin. Donc, mais voilà, j'aime bien le freestyle.
Il y a les obligations. Il y a ton amour et après il y a bien sûr ce qu'il te faut pour nourrir ça.
Mais après, la chorégraphie a toujours été là, hein, même dans le underground, dans le freestyle en général. Parce que même si on regarde les battles de 2007-2008, au Juste Debout, tout le monde venait avec ses routines super préparées. Donc, quelque part, enfin, même,
Même avant, il y avait
ça a toujours été là. Oui, oui. Enfin, l'un va avec l'autre. C'est pas l'un va pas sans l'autre. L'un peut aller sans l'autre. Mais c'est mieux quand c'est ensemble. Ouais.
It's true. They can be exclusive, but it's richer if it's together. La même question. Same
For me,
question, but
yeah, the other way around.
So basically, in English, it's what's helping choreography for freestyle is to structure. If you collaborate with other people as well, you'll do something beautiful, which is to merge two dance styles or two dance universes together, and it also encourages discipline.
So for me, well, like I said, freestyle enables to just expand your knowledge of movement, your movement expression, let's say, and also obviously, as we're talking about hip hop, then it also allowed me to finally also give some like respect and learn about the hip hop culture in general. Also something that I I started too late, I guess. Could say it now, but yeah, at some point I started to check some documentaries. We were talking about it before, and and some pioneers, and so I think, and that's thanks to the freestyle community that became more important to me to know what I'm doing, actually. So I think it's the transmission, the knowledge part about the culture and the hip hop dance that like freestyle gave me a lot of that.
Why do you think it is that we associate freestyle to more linked to the culture, and choreography maybe as is considered as further away from the roots?
Well, if you think about those block parties and those and the breakers, I mean, I like we said, there have been routines already. I just think it's the academic way, like of dance schools maybe, where the essence and the vibe might miss or have been missing a bit here in Luxembourg. Yes, it's a good question. I think choreography at some point, I mean, you have a way of hearing the music. If I watch some freestyle dances, I even hear things in the music that I didn't hear before, absolutely. But at the same time, choreography allowed me to, I mean, I played piano first, so I have the music at some point knowledge. So I think when you start choreographing, it also allows you to actually understand what are you dancing to specifically, and to also know, because some people know all the steps, all the name of the steps, but other people might know like all the parts of the drum. What is a hi-hat and what is your, all those things are, I think, important as well. Again, freestyle for me allowed me to actually be able to dance with not specifically being prepared, even if it's, again, not that much of my comfort zone, but not being afraid of that, and knowing also about the hip-hop dance and the hip-hop culture in general. Yeah.
D'abord, je demande why do you think that at the moment we consider choreography to be further away from what we say is hip hop at the moment than
Tu peux répéter en français, s'il te plaît?
en fait, je me demande pourquoi maintenant on met presque à l'équivalent la Corée avec quelque chose qui est en dehors du hip hop en général, on associe ça avec ça, et pourquoi le freestyle maintenant il est considéré en général comme quelque chose de plus authentique par rapport au hip hop, authentiquement hip hop.
That's cool.
J'en sais rien.
Don't you think it's a bit the academic way of dance schools? Tu sais, ça, on met.
Enfin, la chorégraphie, c'est plus commercialisé et c'est plus facilement accessible
Ouais.
déjà.
And also, where do you freestyle? You don't freestyle that much in dance schools.
Oui.
You freestyle in jam
Enfin,
sessions. It's more out of the academic.
Par exemple, ici au Luxembourg, pour des jeunes qui voudraient s'intéresser au freestyle, peut-être qu'ils cherchent un an. Par exemple, j'ai une élève à moi,
Ouais.
elle me dit « Ouais, ça fait un an que je vous cherche. » Je te jure,
Yeah.
ça fait un an que je cherche ça au Luxembourg. Je dis « Quoi ça ?»« Ça, le freestyle. Ça fait un an que je cherche. » On se rend pas accessible, c'est de notre faute aussi. Des fois, on est en mode ouais, pourquoi on nous appelle pas? Mais pour nous appeler, il faut déjà que les gens ils sachent qu'on existe.
But it got better as well.
Oui, maintenant
Yeah,
ça va
maintenant,
mieux.
Ça va mieux, ouais, c'est vrai.
Mais
Pas tort.
on doit sensibiliser plus les gens. Dans la chorégraphie, c'est plus facile de sensibiliser, peut-être parce qu'il y a cet effet de masse.
Il y a des écoles de danse, donc forcément,
Et il y a
c'est ce que
aussi
tu vas
des
voir.
écoles de
Voilà,
danse.
ouais,
Ici, il n'y a pas forcément d'école de danse de freestyle.
c'est ça. Ah.
D'ailleurs, il n'y en a pas du tout.
But-
Why isn't there like a freestyle class in Mexico? Why dans des écoles de danse?
Je pense que pour l'instant, c'est pas encore ce qu'on recherche. Enfin, je dis, pour ceux qui dansent le freestyle, déjà, on est beaucoup concentré sur nous-mêmes. On est beaucoup dans notre propre développement. Et on a un grand but. On se dit, tout le monde connaît tout le monde. Chaque pays est dans la map, mais nous, on n'est pas là. Donc, je pense que notre focus en ce moment, c'est vraiment, ok, nous aussi, on va être sur la map. Nous aussi, on veut prendre de la place. Il y a une table. Nous aussi, on veut s'asseoir autour. Donc, après, moi, je prends exemple sur l'Allemagne. Parce que l'Allemagne, ça fait pas si longtemps que ça. Qui sont autant connus dans le monde du freestyle. Enfin, principalement dans le battle, du coup. Mais grâce à ce qu'ils ont réussi à faire dans le monde underground, et au-delà de ça, comme Flying Steps et plein d'autres malades, ils ont, à travers le fait de se faire connaître partout, je pense qu'ils ont eu une grande crédibilité aussi à la maison. Et ça les a aidés à se développer à un niveau quand même assez incroyable. En espace de 15 ans, 20 ans. C'est quand même court. 25 ans peut-être. Moi, je dirais pas plus.
Well, après, yeah, it's pretty good being able to position on the map, you know, like you're saying. But then more and more is becoming more accessible, simply because before it was mainly like France, like when it comes to freestyle, and then Germany started to be like head to head, and then before you know it, a lot of other countries, you know, started as well. And it doesn't take a lot. It literally takes one or two persons
Oui,
who
justement.
start to
C'est
stand
vrai.
out in the country, and then it make it happen. But to piggyback on what you were saying about the fact that it's a bit more academic,
Well,
and I I agree with this because, to me, one thing that makes it look like there is a separation, and I think all of us, it's our responsibility to be careful about this, is the perception, the perception of outsiders. Because in reality, insiders don't necessarily see that separation or feel that separation that much. Because we, most of the time, once again, the longer you stay in the game, the more you have to do both, right? So that really doesn't really impact us that much. But the perception of outsiders, meaning top of funnel again, people who just getting into it, then this is how they kind of feel like, oh, choreography is more accessible for me. Choreography is something that I could have a better career, you know? And then we start creating that kind of a story in our mind. To make this even more clear, you know, like when you say to people that you are a dancer, and then some people would say, oh, you are a dancer? Did you dance for, I don't know, for Usher, for Chris Brown? Like if you say that you dance for a big artist, all of a sudden they put you on a pedestal, you know, like, okay, you made it. You see what I mean? But that's almost cliche, right? But it's almost like an opinion of outsiders. But people who actually part of the community and they know what is really dance, they also know that there are so many ways now to live, to make a normal living from dance. You see what I mean?
And you need different ways, actually.
Exactly. You need different ways, and I'm not saying it's easy, but there's much more different avenues than what we think that is happening. So, is it that important if the conversation is only from perception of outsiders? You see what I mean? It's not that, in my opinion, it's not that important, because once they get in, because eventually some outsiders, they become insiders because they spend enough time inside, and then they realize, oh, actually, yeah, I end up doing freestyle and I end up doing choreography, you know? So maybe also we just need to be careful of not replicate that narrative, because when we talk about that narrative too much, then we emphasize that narrative that is actually not fully the case.
And and also, you know, hip hop, we noticed these past years, and I mean, whether it is Nourish, whether it's Art in Motion, we really try, we are very engaged in trying to give some kind of industry, let's say, and to build something up. And we notice as well, I mean, that also institutions and theaters, and whether it is a 3CL or whatever, they open the doors more and more. And like you said, we might need to show us on the map, but at the same time, it's those that are on the map, you said, that also should open the doors to that. So whether you give other teachers names, or whether you say, or you just spread the message, whether it's for an open floor or wherever Maison de Jeunes you are training at that moment, you know, I think it's both that need to work together in order to just build up, and it's getting more, even freestyle, it's getting more and more accessible if we do our work.
Yeah. Ça le devient de plus en plus.
Ouais.
Après, nous là qui se concentrons trop sur nous, on commence aussi à voir plus grand. Donc il y en a aussi pas mal qui commencent à donner cours. Et dans les cours, il y a de plus en plus de gens. Et ces gens, ils viennent pas que pour le cours. Ils sont aussi là quand il y a des jams. Ils sont aussi là quand il y a des événements, que ce soit des workshops ou que ce soit des battles. Du coup, il y a des nouvelles têtes qu'on voit, des nouveaux jeunes. Et ça fait aussi grave plaisir. Et il y a aussi des jeunes qui commencent à mettre la pression. Il y a des jeunes qui commencent à sortir, on fait « C'est ton élève ça, oui ?» Ah, danse bien. Donc, et ces jeunes-là, enfin, eux, ils sont à l'école. Et du coup, à l'école, tout le monde connaît un peu tout le monde à travers les réseaux. Mais du coup, il y a aussi des jeunes qui voient l'autre jeune, lui, il danse. Et peut-être qu'il s'intéresse aussi. Du coup, il demande ouais, c'est quoi ce que tu fais? Quel style? C'est quoi? Ah, c'est du hip-hop. Ah, ça se passe où? C'est comment? Ah, viens là, là, là. C'est gratuit ou pas? La plupart des temps, c'est gratuit. Ce qui est cool en plus. Et oui, c'est très accessible. On ne va pas dire que c'est pas accessible. Ça reste quand même super accessible. Et je pense qu'il y a aussi de plus en plus de demandes à gauche, à droite. Quand tu dis que tu es prof de danse, ils ne demandent plus forcément que ce soit chorégraphique.
Yeah.
Ils demandent que ce soit instructif et pédagogique.
Ouais, ludique, ouais,
Et
exactement.
que ça apporte quelque chose de concret. Maintenant, ils ne regardent plus vraiment la forme. Ils regardent qu'est-ce que tu peux apporter.
Yeah.
Enfin, c'est ce que je suis en train de vivre en ce moment un peu. Donc, mais je pense le pays aussi, il est en train de changer beaucoup. Hein. Il y a beaucoup de trucs qui sont en train de changer, surtout culturellement. Donc, il y a des portes qui sont en train de s'ouvrir qui étaient bien fermées avant.
Voilà, ouais.
Donc, je crois qu'il y a plein de trucs qui vont changer sur les 3-4 prochaines années. Il y a énormément de trucs qui vont changer.
And I think if we like whether it is more whether implicated in freestyle or choreo, if we do the separation now, the more whatever let's say part gets lifted up, well, the other one we all win actually, and we I think the community started to really get bigger, and we start to mix, like it starts to get mixed a bit. You see people from freestyles in choreo classes. You see also choreo people, let's say, that go to jam sessions. Might maybe not do them many battles, but at least acknowledge and know the importance. And yeah, again, if one wins, we all win.
Oui.
So
Ça, c'est
yeah, so.
Giving also my personal input, but I think this is so important to speak like this together. And I fully agree with the fact that we need to erase a little bit this barrier and put ourselves in boxes like this, because it's not serving us at all.
Oui.
I do think that the distinction sometimes it's we define the freestyle as underground and choreo as commercial, and this comes also with a lot of connotations that should not be associated to our art, but more to our profession, or more to the context and the practice. So not confuse choreo with commercial.
Everything is commercialized, but there's always a subculture, you know. So yeah.
Also, it's very important because then, choreography gets even from people who have been dancing for a long time. I've heard a lot of different things that are very negative about this art, but I think that is associated not to the art itself, but to the connotations that we give it, which is very commercial, basically. And something that we have not mentioned is that hip-hop is a political as well. Dancing hip-hop is also carrying a political statement that often is protesting the structure. It's protesting an establishment that is oppressing minorities. There's a lot of different political layers to it, and when we get into a commercial setting, they might conflict with this.
Yeah, because it's born there, you know. It's born in struggle, and it gave a voice to, and the gangs that started to battle dance instead of killing each other, you know. So yeah.
But there's totally a way to practice choreography in a more ethical way, and that's why I think it's important to let go of these stereotypes or these connotations and associate them more to contexts or to situations than to the actual practice.
Yeah.
Maybe one last question before we open the floor to everybody else, because we know this here, choreography for certain people, and I wonder why is it so scary? What is this fear associated to freestyle? Why do you both are teachers, and you have had students who are blocked, or you had students who are afraid? You say freestyle and everybody hides under the table. So why is this happening?
You already answered that, I think, with the connotation that you have. If you call it freestyle, you think about battling, so you need to be better than the other one. Mm-hmm. And it's also, I mean, it's you. We all want to be seen, but we're afraid to be seen, like kind of, you know. Mm-hmm. But if you call it impro, then at some point, then that was, I know, because it was the same for myself, and it was all just cliches or whatever I thought, and the circle is the sharing, and it's not having to, it's connecting and letting go and just listening to the music, but it's not so easy because how you say, it's like you take off your clothing, you take off your mask, so it's just you. And whatever comes in that moment, well, you gotta accept it and deal with it, you know. And and I think also the fact that if you started with mirror, then you actually very often do dance in one direction and you watch how you look. That's why it's nice to work with comedians also, because they don't have that thing that we need to look cool or look like clean or whatever. I think it's a lot a mindset just how you've been raised in your dance education in the beginning. But again, there's no better feeling. It's nice to have a whole army behind you and you see, wow, visually nice, amazing, and also to see the evolution of people in their dance education. But like if you have that moment in whenever you freestyle, whether it's in your room and you really were able to let go, that feeling of freedom, I mean, it's at least as much amazing. And when you experience that, you don't want to let go anymore. And also the part of choreographing, don't forget, it's also about research. Research, what is it? It's also playing, so you need to try out. So what you're doing actually, improvising and so.
May I ask about this mirror thing?
Mm-hmm.
So once more, maybe as choreo teachers, we need to question. I don't think that choreo and mirror are necessarily a duo that is very necessary to stick together, and maybe it's our way of approaching the class that is always very linear and and it's more our responsibility to let them out of this.
It's very important to make them, absolutely. Well, the thing is, of course, sometimes it's easier, you get the mirror, so you see better, but whether it was during Zoom or when you don't have, actually, sometimes I do the routine the other way around, so I look at the students, and then which allows also, it's a work from my brain, and it's thanks to the COVID and Zoom classes, I can't say left, but I do right, and stuff like that. But what I try to do now is, first of all, because you also learn in your environment, you never had that in the class, you kill the routine, then we do groups. Now, not the same person standing next to you, or you're not on the same side of the room, and then you completely forget everything, because you also learn with your environment. So what I do is, first I say, okay, now change spots, and then we do different directions. The whole routine, and then, or they look at each other. So they have the other people that go the other way around, to get away from that. And I think also something that I've been missing or lacking also was use your head and I think that's something sometimes in choreo which also missing. Even if we should change direction, but like the leading of the movement and taking 360 instead of just for one audience that is sitting at the same side, which is not the case when you have like a battle and a circle again, right?
Miroir.
Qu'est-ce
qui fait peur?
Tu as des élèves qui ont peur d'entrer dans un cercle?
Oui, tous. Non, c'est pas vrai. Presque tous. Mais qu'est-ce qui fait peur? C'est ça la question. Pourquoi t'as peur?
Ça, c'est
Qu'est-ce qui fait que t'as peur? Est-ce que c'est le regard des gens?
Mais quand tu fais choré, tu vas regarder.
Oui, aussi. T'as aussi cette peur. Mais Enfin, t'es aussi sous pression. Ou t'as la boule qui est dans le ventre, là. T'arrives pas à te débarrasser. Mais qui a dit qu'il faut s'en débarrasser?
Nice. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Est-ce qu'il faudrait pas juste apprendre à travailler avec?
Yeah, that's right.
Je pense que c'est plus logique de travailler avec ses peurs. Ça te rend plus fort. Bah, la peur de rentrer dans le cercle, c'est aussi peut-être parce que tu es vulnérable. Genre, il y a des gens qui te regardent et t'es mis à nu, t'as pas de bouclier et tu t'exprimes et tout le monde te regarde.
Après la Corée, c'est le bouclier.
Non, ça dépend. Ça dépend de. Est-ce que tu es préparé? Genre, est-ce que tu es préparé à la condition que tu vas. Genre, c'est bien de s'entraîner dans la salle devant le miroir. Mais est-ce que tu es à l'aise déjà sans le miroir? Est-ce que tu ressens ce que tu fais ou est-ce que tu as besoin de voir ce que tu fais? Parce que s'entraîner aussi trop devant le miroir, quand tu n'es pas devant le miroir, c'est pas la même sensation.
Exactly.
Parce que tu regardes ce que tu fais. Mais quand tu n'es pas devant le miroir, tu n'as rien à voir. Tu dois ressentir ce que tu fais.
Actually,
Mais
sometimes.
est-ce que tu peux faire ce que tu fais sans miroir devant n'importe qui? Genre, est-ce que tu peux danser devant ta mère? Est-ce que tu peux danser devant tes parents? Moi, non. Moi, je suis sous pression. Il me regarde, il dit « Ouais, danse !» Je dis, ah, c'est ça, ouais. Ouais, mais quand tu danses devant des gens que tu connais pas, quand c'est nous, je dis « Non, non, c'est chaud. » Yeah.
I think the point of
Ça devient
feeling was
plus
very nice.
personnel. C'est difficile. Enfin, c'est un déconfort. Mais après, c'est à moi de voir qu'est-ce que je fais avec. Est-ce que je reste sur le « Ah ouais, je vais pas danser devant mes parents parce que c'est mes parents » ou est-ce que je vais me dire « Bah oui, si je danse devant des gens que je connais pas, genre, dans tous les cas, tu vas être jugé, que ce soit dans le bien ou dans le mal. Mais qu'est-ce que t'en fais, genre, de ça? Pourquoi ça doit te toucher? Genre, est-ce que quand tu danses, c'est pas ton moment? Est-ce que c'est pas toi et la musique, genre ici et maintenant, dans l'instant présent? On te regarde, tu peux tomber, tu te relèves, tu continues. C'est pas la fin du monde. Et de toute façon, c'est dans le passé. Tu peux pas le changer. Ça sert à rien de tirer sur un truc que de toute façon, il reviendra pas. Tu peux pas changer le passé. Ouais, ouais, ouais.
I just wanted to, your feeling, what he says, is very important also for muscle memory. So sometimes if you don't, well, maybe if you have a lot of directions and you move around a lot, it's more difficult. But if you have a part where it's more on your spot, kind of do the routine. I tell them to close their eyes and to try out the movement so that you maybe start to get, when we say start to feel it, whatever then, you know. And also, maybe it's also a thing about like being afraid, like what is your comfort zone? Some people like to be prepared and know exactly the counts, the lyrics, and the accents, and every, like, you know. And some people are actually really good in dealing with stand-up or impro. If I work with Saif, he just on the spot, and he can give a very good class, and it's not even prepared. And I don't feel that secure. Sometimes it happens that I have to improv because I'm in the theater and they ask me something, I just need to work on the spot. But if it works out, I'm like, oh, then I'm actually quite proud because it's not, it actually became good, you know. But I feel more at ease when I know exactly what I'm gonna do, whether it is warm-up, the music I use, and you know, this is, yeah. And to get away from that, and I like what he said, like, why not being afraid, actually? Yes, exactly. Just how you deal with it. And again, you will always be judged, okay, but I always say the ones that judge very often have no idea. I remember me judging people, what, you saw one round, we all know that we don't have the same 100% every day. You might not like the music, you might not be in the headspace, you might, I don't, whatever reason, there are so many, I mean, yeah, we all have our private stuff going on and how you feel emotionally. And so, yeah, who are you to judge whatever round, actually? And those who know the work that it is and have been there for a longer time actually will not even judge so hard, because those who know don't need to judge, actually. Yeah.
Also, one thing is something that I tried to understand for quite some time. Why was it so difficult for some people to just freestyle when you have some others who just love it and they can't wait to enter the cipher?
Mm-hmm.
And the more I work with other freestyle dancers, the more so I realize more on a psychological level, there are certain things that freestyle do not give you a reward fast.
Yep.
You have to wait longer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not tangible. What I mean by that is there are some research, they say like one of the biggest fears of human being is public speaking. And in general, a lot of people, they don't necessarily like public speaking. They are kind of afraid of it. But in a sense, a lot of people as well, they do use public speaking. Even when if you are talking at school in front of a group of people, or maybe in front of just your parents, you do it. But the moment we put you under the spot and you're like, okay, you have to speak, in front of an audience, then all of a sudden you have that fear going on. And I feel like if choreo would be like you preparing a speech, then freestyle would be more like a raw public speaking. Even though you do have that element of practice, meaning I'm practicing at home and then I go and do the battle and then I am doing that public speaking thing. But the reason why I'm making this connection is because over time I realized that when it's come to freestyle, the fact that you start with the mindset of we are already fear, I have the fear of it, and then after that you're telling me I will be doing a bunch of rounds and then I cannot measure my progress. I cannot say, okay, how well this was, or is this good or not. With a choreography, when I finish the class, I can immediately tell if I learned the choreography and I know it or not. You see what I mean? That's very tangible. Freestyle is hard to really have a tangible a very objective feedback when you don't necessarily have experience. So therefore, when you combine fear and lack of clarity, it's a mess.
Nice.
It's a complete mess, and then automatically it becomes something that is almost like, what's the point here? Like I'm doing it, but what's the point? Because in the end, I have nothing to show for it. See what I mean? So I realized that, okay, actually this is also creating a lot of confusion in the dancer's mind, and this is also why I keep on talking a lot about, okay, what if I could make sure I give the newcomers in freestyle quick wins. Quick wins to show them, okay, actually, you thought you couldn't do this, but hey, try this. Actually, I can do this, right? Like creating those evidence. If we are able to create those evidence pretty quickly in dancers' mind, then they will quickly realize, I can do public speaking, right? I can freestyle. And once you manage to do this at a bigger scale, then it's much easier for anyone to actually freestyle. It's hard to master it, just like it's hard to master choreography, but the point of entry should not be as high. You see what I mean? We can find ways to make it more accessible to anyone. Yeah. So I think removing that fear and also give more clarity could be a great way to kind of start making it accessible to everyone, at least to try it for a longer period of time.
Very often the vibe, if you go to a
freestyle jam or class, whatever, I think it's funny because that's actually a very supportive environment. A lot of, I'm not saying that like if you go take a class in a dance school, but like I feel there's actually depends, but there might be less supportive actually, because it's more, I have to be better than that. I mean, and sometimes I feel like, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, just from my personal, what I see, you are so afraid of that battle scene, you have to be better than the other one, but actually it happens more in a dance class. I mean, what I, also when I go to dance camps or whatever, there's more that, you know, like when you go to an audition kind of thing, you know, whether that's brutal, and it's such a you have like whether it is with body. I mean, there's so many stories where you actually you go there because you might feel more secure, but it's not giving you. I think a lot of like reward for me was the fact that whatever you do, you're doing it, and you got that like hype, and everybody hyped you like you were the star, and like you know, that kind of thing. And so yeah, I think it's very. And when I teach, I also, you know, it's like you said, you try to find something that works, even if there is, let's say, a mistake. Instead of saying, okay, you don't do this correct, you should do like this. Find something they do somewhere right. Like you remember that step there in the beginning of the routine where you give like that. Try to use it there so that you focus on something that is good. It's easier than to adapt, and I got that very much more in jam session, and the welcoming arms. So then it was easier. Also, you got the reward because people are just supporting you, even more than in any dance class. Well, yeah.
Ouais. Mais
You know.
c'est vrai que pour déjà, même si t'es pas à l'aise avec le fait de freestyler, ce qui serait déjà bien, c'est d'être là. Et de juste d'observer. Après, tu peux te mettre des petits objectifs. À la prochaine fois, je vais peut-être pas danser dans le cercle, mais je vais être dans le cercle. Donc, tu es plus près. Donc, même si tu danses pas, tu fais partie du truc. Parce que tu es là, tu fais partie de la conversation. Ça peut être un objectif, et puis tu te dis, ah ouais, j'ai atteint l'objectif là. Peut-être que le prochain objectif, ça va être, faudrait que j'essaie de danser 10 secondes dans le cercle. C'est un combat. Hein. C'est un combat intérieur. Au moins, tu peux choisir le moment. S'il y a un son qui te parle, sinon, à part si... Enfin, le fait d'être déjà dans le cercle, il peut y avoir aussi ce truc où tout le monde te regarde et tout le monde te fait « Vas-y, rentre, danse un peu ». T'es là, peut-être tu vas faire « Non, non, non ». Mais je suis sûr que si tout le monde dans le cercle commence à t'applaudir en mode « Ouais !» tu dis « Ah, peut-être ». Tu fais un petit pas en avant, peut-être tu danses 10 secondes, mais même si tu sais pas ce que tu es en train de faire, mais au moins, tu as fait quelque chose pendant les 10 secondes. Genre, tu peux en être fier. Tu rentres à la maison. Prochain objectif, en vrai, j'ai bien aimé, ou pas. Même si tu n'as pas aimé, mais que tu as envie quand même de faire ça, tu dis, la prochaine fois, j'essaie de danser 20 secondes. Et ainsi de suite. Ou sinon, oui, tu mets tes objectifs. Et à force de mettre des petits objectifs, un jour, tu vas dire, faut que j'arrive à danser tout un son. Et tout un son, ça peut être 3 minutes, ça peut être 5 minutes. Mais ça veut dire que peut-être tu as déjà réalisé ton objectif de je devais danser 1 minute dans le cercle. Et un jour, tu vas plus penser au temps, ou si tu dois rentrer ou quoi que ce soit. Peut-être ton prochain objectif, ça va être je veux faire du sol. Genre tu rentres dans le cercle, et dans le cercle, je veux faire du sol. Mais en soi, quand tu veux freestyler dans un cercle, c'est quelque part parce que tu le fais déjà en cachette dans ta chambre. On sait que tu es quelque part où personne te voit. Tu es en train de faire comme ça, là. Même si tu sors pas des techniques ou je sais pas quoi, mais tu ressens le truc, tu es juste en train de bouger. Quand tu vois les autres, tu dis, ah ouais, moi aussi je veux faire ça. Mais vas-y, pourquoi pas ? Enfin... Il n'y a rien qui te prive de le faire. Mais faut pas aussi venir et dire direct, ouais, je vais être comme ça, ou se comparer aux autres, parce que ça, c'est un truc qu'on fait beaucoup. On se compare. On se compare aux gens. Et se comparer quand tu commences un truc, alors qu'il y a des gens qui sont là depuis 10 ans, ça fait pas sens. Et ça te met un coup de pression de malade. Tu te dis, ah, je vais danser comme lui, mais fais déjà avec ce que t'as. Genre, si t'as ça, travaille avec ça. Et à fur et à mesure du temps, il va grandir le truc. Mais il faut commencer quelque part. Mais il ne faut pas commencer non plus en disant, je vais être comme lui. Parce qu'il y a aussi des fois ce moment où il y a un danseur, il commence et il dit, ouais, dans un an, je te bats. Ou je me donne 2 ans pour être à ton niveau. C'est faisable. Mais tu te mets un deadline. Et la deadline là, c'est une pression de fou. Parce que, imaginons que c'était ta deadline, tu arrives 2 ans plus tard et tu n'as pas atteint tes objectifs. Enfin, déjà, tu n'es pas content. Genre, pas du tout. Tu te sens bas. Tu te dis, ah, moi, je voulais être là, mais je suis encore là. Mais en fait, il faut juste travailler avec ce qu'on a déjà. Il ne faut pas se préoccuper du temps.
Sinon, tu es frustré tout le temps, sinon.
Oui, il ne faut pas se préoccuper de combien de temps ça va prendre. Ça va prendre du temps. Après, ça dépend. Qu'est-ce que tu as comme information aussi? Où est-ce que tu es allé chercher tes informations? Tout ça aussi, ça joue un rôle important pour développer ton freestyle. Parce que, par exemple, c'est bien de faire du hip-hop, mais c'est bien aussi de prendre dans la house. C'est bien de prendre en popping. C'est bien de prendre en break. Si ta base, c'est le hip-hop, c'est bien de le compléter et de le renforcer avec d'autres styles. Parce qu'il y a d'autres codes. Et ainsi de suite.
C'est comme avoir des manettes supplémentaires.
Bien dit.
Oui, c'est comme si tu as une manette et tu commences à mettre des gadgets dessus. Genre, tu commences à avoir R4, R6. Je te jure, ta manette, tu être comme ça après dessus. Et voilà. Voyez pas trop grand. Faites déjà avec ce qui est là. Voyez ce qu'il y a là. C'est le bout de ton nez. Pourquoi regarder là-bas?
Je pense que les gens, des fois, ils savent pas qu'en freestyle, tu peux
Oui, je
aussi
parle à toi.
juste...
Non, j'ai fini, pardon.
No, it's fine. But like you said, just show up. I think a lot of people, also had that a lot when I said about open floor, and just go there and watch. And I don't know if people are so aware that it's not like you have to go there and then you will be like, t'es affiché, mets-toi au cercle tout de suite. Like, you know, if you come the first time in a dance class where you know no one, you still can hide kind of in a group, collective class, you know. And if you think freestyle, I think sometimes people are not aware that they can just arrive there, and it's not like you will be forced or so, like, oh, no, I have to do that, but I'm afraid. You know, and in Choreo you might be afraid, but you can still hide in the last row. So, that, you know, that might be also, I said it quite a lot past year now, when I said, just go watch. And actually there is one girl that she raps, Kiri, and she was going there, and then at some point you went to her and said, should I show you something? And this created for her, I have to send you the message, like, thank you so much, it was the best place I could have go for that. And she was super afraid. Yeah, Kiri, like, yeah, just an example, yeah? So maybe that's also good to know. Show up, then the people start to already know your face, you feel less uncomfortable, and then you might even get some connections before you even dance, and then it's all more of a kind environment, kind nice thing.
Aussi, un autre truc, en général, enfin, quand on sessionne, s'il y a des nouvelles personnes qui rentrent, on s'intéresse aux gens. On demande ah, tu danses, t'es de où? Et si quelqu'un vient et dit ah, moi je danse pas, mais où je danse, mais voilà, bah, toujours, ça a toujours été comme ça, du moins chez nous. Après, chez les autres, j'ai aucune idée. On leur demande, oui, tu veux que je te montre un truc, tu veux quelque chose pour, pour te nourrir, pour essayer. Donc il y a toujours aussi des gens qui viennent, qui n'ont rien à voir avec ça, et finalement ils restent, et puis ils font partie de ça. Mais c'est parce qu'aussi, soit ils viennent vers nous et ils sont capables de dire, putain, Klaus, combien de fois c'est arrivé, mec? Il y a tellement de gens qui sont venus comme ça. Ils sont là, ils te regardent, ils font, ouais, tu peux montrer un peu, je danse pas. Puis on est là, on dit, bah, bien sûr. Enfin, on est là, quoi, donc, pourquoi pas? Si tu as envie de faire partie du truc, c'est pour dire que si il y a l'envie de venir, venez. Enfin, il n'y a pas de souci. De toute façon, il y aura toujours quelqu'un pour vous accueillir. Et si vous avez des questions ou envie d'apprendre, la porte est toujours ouverte. Enfin, nous aussi, on a commencé de rien. Nous aussi, on est rentré dans une salle. Nous aussi, on nous a regardé en mode... tu vois? Nous aussi, on nous a aidés à un moment donné. Même si c'est entre nous, ou si c'est extérieur, mais à un moment donné, il y a quelqu'un qui est venu vers nous, il nous a dit, c'est pas mal ce que tu fais, c'est un peu éclaté, mais... si tu veux, je peux te montrer 2-3 trucs, quoi. Donc, c'est quelque chose qui restera, ça.
Est-ce que vous avez des questions? Do you have any questions
I have a question I've been itching so long to ask it because, like, first of all, thank you very much for this opportunity, also
Thank you.
for your talk. I think it was very insightful, also for you, Nickel. I think it was insightful because the more I was listening to you guys, and the more I realized that I think we're just talking about like two sides of the same coin, which is basically one way to interpret something that we share together.
Yeah.
And we've been listening to a talk with Lumi, QT, and Nickel Yudat. They were saying that basically freestyle is for them to think of the present and choreo to think about the future, to anticipate, which is basically just a different time of horizon. I think from this talk there was something that was very nice, was first of all the putting the idea that we need to define what is freestyle, what is choreo. But the more I was hearing you guys, and the more I was like, I think we are not asking the good question. I think we should ask ourselves. No, not at all.
No.
For me, the question is whether it's for freestyle or for choreo, what is hip hop? How do you define hip hop? How do you define the values? How do you define the message that we want to convey to the people that are in and to the people outside of the culture? I think this is important because even in freestyle, like when I watch Red Bull Dance Your Style and when people are dancing to Cyndi Lauper, is it hip hop? I don't know. Like when people also that are coming from freestyle dance, dancing for Madonna, is it still hip hop? I don't know. Is it still like, is it not valuable? I don't know either. It's just like I want maybe from your three insights, what is the frontier of hip hop and what can you consider hip hop? Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's another
Yeah.
No, maybe we don't need the answer right now, but
I think it's nice to
It's, oh,
there's questions here.
so from yeah, just for me personally, like you have the roots, okay, all right, and then so just because what is like hip hop, but nowadays, I mean, Britney Spears has hip hop instrumentals. Okay, if you listen to the BPM or whatever, David Guetta makes a song with Snoop Dogg, I think was it. So I mean, nowadays it's like it's a lot more like open, and again I think like we have house categories in hip hop. It's been influenced by jazz anyway, and even by electronic musics, and so I think today. Yeah, it's just like a mondial, un langage universel. Pas que la danse, mais aussi la danse hip-hop, quelque part, ou le hip-hop. Then you have your sections, yeah, definitely. But I think the essence is where it comes from, and yeah, the roots, the story of hip-hop culture, and by now, again, it's yeah, just visiting. Commercial, I don't want to say commercial, but it's just like a...
Mainstream.
Oui,
Mainstream.
yeah, merci. Exactement le mot, voilà.
Maybe just to add, I feel like also when it comes to freestyle, there are some people who are watching people doing hip hop dance and be like, you're not doing hip hop. You're not. Because I don't know, like maybe it's like just a matter of like, what do you consider being really hip hop or whatever. So again, I think this question is not around the idea that choreo is more hip hop or freestyle is more hip hop. It's more like, what is hip hop in general?
Yeah, and also why do we don't consider hip hop in contemporary? Because contemporary we talk about a lot of elements, but hip hop is part of it. No, can be like contemporary is kind of everything. No, it's like you have. No, it's well, I mean. For me, if I see some hip hop companies, I mean, it's put in. It's another approach. It's not like an approach from the street, maybe, but I mean, it's still, yeah, it's still urban. It's still the base is still not any ballet or social dances. Let's say that's the base of a lot of dance companies, and they mix all kind of styles. What is commercial, Klaus? It's also a mix. Can be a jazz. Can be based on many different styles. What is hip hop nowadays?
Bon, déjà, on peut pas dire qu'on est hip hop. On peut dire qu'on fait partie du hip hop. Parce que le hip hop, c'est pas que la danse. Il y a différentes branches.
Ouais.
Donc, il y a plusieurs catégories dans le hip-hop. Moi, enfin, c'est personnel. Moi, le jour où je dirais que je suis hip-hop, c'est quand on se sera tous réunis de nouveau. Enfin, pour le Luxembourg, du coup, plus. Parce qu'il y a plusieurs catégories, mais on n'est pas du tout connectés. On est déconnectés. Et on se connaît même pas. Genre, je parle pas pour tout le monde, parce qu'on connaît quand même 2-3 personnes, mais il y a beaucoup de... Il y a une grande déconnexion. Genre, si on fait un event, bah on va appeler nos gens. Et dans nos gens, il y aura des DJ, des jurys, des MC, mais c'est des danseurs.
C'est pour ça que la block party, c'est des événements qui sont importants, parce que ça allie de nouveau tous les éléments de la culture hip-hop. Voilà.
C'est pas... Il y a le DJ, mais le DJ, c'est un danseur. Et le DJ, il met des sons. Et le DJ, c'est un beatmaker. Donc il y a le DJ qui est un danseur, mais le DJ, c'est aussi un beatmaker. Mais il n'a pas... Ça, pas tout, pour tout le monde. Il n'a pas forcément les codes nécessaires d'un beatmaker. Parce que les danseurs beatmakers, nous, si on fait du son, bah nous, je me mets pas dedans parce que je le fais pas. Mais en général, si on fait du son, c'est pour les battles hip-hop. Pour que nos sons passent dans les battles hip-hop. Les MC, c'est des danseurs. C'est pas forcément des rappeurs. c'est pas forcément des vrais MC. Et puis il y a aussi bon, les jurys, c'est des danseurs, bien sûr. Le public, c'est des danseurs et des publics, enfin des gens normaux, quoi. Façon de parler. Mais enfin, dans mon cas, je trouve que c'est bien s'il y a un événement, que ça regroupe le tout. Genre on appelle un DJ parce que c'est un DJ, c'est pas un danseur. Ça peut être un danseur, mais c'est un DJ avant tout. On appelle un graffeur, on appelle ceci, on appelle cela, pour que tout le monde soit réuni. Et là, je dis, ouais, là, c'est hip-hop. Sinon, on est juste des branches du hip-hop.
Mais c'est ce que vous faites, qu'on essaie de faire. Hein. Là, de mentionner la bloc party justement pour que tous ces éléments se rencontrent.
Oui, mais c'est sur un seul événement.
Oui,
c'est
oui,
quoi
évidemment.
la continuité?
Oui.
Il faut qu'on se voit une fois par an pour que ça arrive. Pourquoi c'est pas...
Absolument.
Tu vois?
Ben voilà. Oui, voilà. C'est un processus, tu vois. Enfin,
Non,
mais c'est
t'inquiète.
vrai.
Non, on est là,
Mais
on fait aussi. Hein. C'est le but.
Ouais,
C'est le but, c'est le but.
La soirée que vous avez fait au Mirador avec les rappeurs,
Ouais.
Ouais, ça, c'était le bordel. Entre les rappeurs du luxe et les danseurs, c'était le bordel. Imagine ça avec toutes les catégories. Enfin, c'est magnifique. Mais que ce soit un truc qui est plus constant, que ce soit pas une fois par an. Une fois par an, quand ça arrive, c'est magnifique. C'est trop bien. Moi, maintenant, je profite même de l'événement-là pour me connecter à des gens. Parce qu'il faut... Les gens qui viennent, c'est des gens, quand même des gens que vous avez trouvés pour les mettre là. Donc, c'est des gens qui sont là depuis longtemps aussi. Et quand je les vois, j'ai pas le choix. Je me dis, ah non, les gars, vous savez pas qui je suis, mais c'est pas grave. Moi, j'ai besoin de savoir qui vous êtes. Il faut qu'on partage. On ne sait pas ce que vous avez vécu. Vous savez pas ce qu'on a vécu. Il y a tellement de choses à dire. Il y a tellement d'expériences qui peuvent être partagées. Il y a tellement de choses que eux, ils savent qu'on ne sait pas forcément. Parce que, enfin, on défend le même sujet, mais pas de la même façon. On parle la même langue, mais c'est pas les mêmes couleurs. Enfin, si, c'est les mêmes couleurs. Ouais. Pour moi, le hip-hop, c'est... C'est difficile à dire. Moi, je suis sérieux.
mais il y a cette idée de...
Parce que ça évolue tout le temps. On sait d'où ça vient. On sait ce que c'est. On ne sait pas où ça va. Après, il y a des gens qui le font pour défendre quelque chose. Il y a des gens qui le font pour vendre quelque chose. Il y a des gens qui le font pour se vendre. Il y a des gens qui le font parce qu'ils aiment. Enfin... Ça reste hip-hop à la fin, mais... Voilà. En plus, avec le temps, avec tout ce qui arrive, ça perce de plus en plus. Il y a ChatGPT. Il y a TikTok.
J'ai l'impression que tu le définis comme un arbre qui est vivant avec des branches qui sortent.
Oui.
Parfois, il y a des feuilles qui peuvent tomber de l'arbre.
Oui, oui, bien sûr. Mais les racines sont toujours là. Et les racines, c'est ce qui tient l'arbre. Les racines, c'est ce qui nourrit l'arbre. Ouais. Non, j'essaye.
Ouais, moi je pense I'm gonna try to make this as practical as possible. I'm a practical guy. The thing is, if we see it as a more in a general way, I've heard this many times that hip hop is not only the dance, you have graffiti, rap, and all of that, right? So, or in general, that would be hip hop, like the combination of different disciplines like rap, graffiti, dance, b-boying, and all that, right? Now, if we talk about the dance itself, like hip hop freestyle, it's not that complicated. It's not that simple. It's not that difficult. It's if you want to know if someone is doing hip hop or not, look if we find the foundations in his dance. It can be choreography or freestyle. If we can find the foundations, right? Therefore, he's doing hip hop. Now, what are the foundations? Bounce, rock, roll, and the king of all this is the groove, right? So why the king of all this is the groove is because in the bounce you will find some sort of groove. In the rock you will find some sort of groove. In the roll you will find some sort of groove. So it's very easy to identify, really. Now, what can create a bit of confusion, and this is what I see happen over and over again, there are people who are doing hip-hop. And there are people, the hip-hop style is doing them. What I mean by that is when you go to a class and you're like, okay, everyone tells you, okay, you have to respect the foundations and you have to dance hip-hop. And then you start being so afraid to be judged if you're not doing hip-hop. Then you are doing the bounce, the rock, the roll, and also some basic movement that they told you, like, for example, running man, reebok, and all of that. So you memorize everything, and now when you are freestyling, you're just reciting. So in that sense, I'm saying the hip-hop style is doing you, but you're not doing hip-hop, really. Because to be able to do hip-hop, you have to do a combination of respecting the style and also doing you in it, right? So what happens is, when you have people who are just reciting the foundations, and then they don't understand, they're like, okay, yeah, but I'm doing everything right, Nickel. I'm practicing, I did this and this and this and that, but why I'm still not able to freestyle, the way that I would like to? Then stop being a perfect student. Stop being a perfect student. Start also putting your own self into this. You see what I mean? And this is where I'm a bit more like, okay, you guys, it's not enough to just learn the foundations. It's great to understand them and start also putting yourself into it, right? But what is important is very simple. When it comes to hip-hop freestyle, is the foundations. And do not confuse the foundation with basic moves. Because the basics move or the social moves, they are here to kind of help you initiate you into the hip-hop freestyle without overthinking it. Because if you start doing the running man, all of a sudden you are doing hip-hop. If you start doing the reebok, you are doing hip-hop. If you start doing the bouncing song, you are doing hip-hop immediately. But can you actually freestyle with it and make it part of your style and make it part of your natural way of moving? This is where the real work starts. See what I mean? So once we identify it like this and we understand it like this, then we can easily identify someone who's doing a hip-hop choreography, someone who's doing freestyle hip-hop, a hip-hop freestyle, and someone who's pretending doing a hip-hop choreography, but you see no type of foundation of it. You see what I mean? So once again, it's just, I think, the OGs, or the people who created it, they made it clear. Until today, their narrative is still the same, So it's just, we sometimes overthink it because we want to do so well and we want to be respected or appreciated in the style. Then we don't know. Oh, good. We don't know how to find the balance between the foundations and our voice, right? And that's pretty much it. I think hopefully this is a bit like clear and practical. You see what I mean? So
it was painful for him, like you said. I'm doing hip-hop was doing me.
Yeah. See, so yeah, because I think you were Anna, yeah. Anna was asking me something similar previously, and it's something that I see over and over again. Like, oh yeah, I want to practice the style. I want to respect the style, and this is very important. Yes, please respect it, but at the same time, don't forget. Without you moving, there's no style. You see what I mean? Like this is also very, very important to put into consideration, because I heard Buddha Stretch said that once, I don't know, on some of on Instagram or something like this. It was saying like, yeah, the thing is, I don't see you guys dancing. I see you trying to be accepted as a hip hop dancer. You see what I mean? But I don't see you guys dancing. You see? So, and I can definitely relate to this, right? So yeah, I would say hip hop is not that difficult. Hip hop freestyle, when it comes to the dance part, it's not that difficult to explain. It's, yeah.
I have two very quick questions from online people. One of them is how to stay creative when music feels repetitive or challenging. Maybe you have like a tip that can unblock a person who feels that it's a challenge to stay creative when music is repetitive or challenging. You should come to the intensive. We dedicated many hours today to that.
Another 1 hour talk, right?
Yeah. Maybe one thing you can say so that they feel
C'est la musique qui est répétitive. C'est pas la musique le problème.
I would say that whenever someone end up being creative, it's something that was not fabricated. Okay, most of the time you do not fabricate. You do not frame creativity. It usually hits you, or usually it just happens. And now, if we identify when it happens, it usually happens when we do not necessarily expect it, or it happens when we set up an environment for it to happen, right? So meaning, if I need to write, and then I said to myself, okay, whether I feel inspired or not, I'm gonna start writing. Therefore, I frame an environment where I sit down and I start writing. And by writing, the process of doing this could potentially put me in a flow state where I actually start being creative. So therefore, the same thing applies here. If I hear the music and I like it or not, whether I like it or not, what if I just say, okay, let me just start moving. Let me just get into the flow and let's see what happens. You see what I mean? Yeah. And then potentially you might get inspired and then you could potentially do a creative round. But if it doesn't happen, it's okay too. Because if it was that easy, then everyone would be creative on command and it would not be that special. Right? So that's what I would say. Don't chase creativity. Let it come to you by framing yourself and putting yourself in a state of mind where you increase the chance for it to happen more often.
Genre, il faut être dans la zone, quoi. Quand tu es dans la zone, il se passe des choses.
There's a lot of positive reactions. The next question was tips on how to build confidence while freestyling, and I think that you guys answered this question before when we talked about fears when it comes to freestyling. William, he gave some tips about setting objectives that you can measure. And actually, Nickel also talked about measurable progress. So this video will be saved on the Instagram, and you can go back to that moment where we talk about fears when freestyling, and you can get some tips on how to build confidence.
Okay.
Thank you very much to the people who are watching online, and also to participants and everybody who listened here.